President William Ruto hosted a Vietnamese investor almost 1 week ago, and after the business mogul left Kenya, he came out to expose Kenya in terms of governance and leadership. And so, I want to take you through in what the businessman said about Kenya in terms of governance and leadership. So this is what he wrote in his social media account. So it reads, "Why Africa waits while Asia builds. A hard look at Kenya. I met with Prime Secretary Musalia Mudavadi and President William Ruto in Nairobi. They spoke with energy about Kenya's future, investment, infrastructure, and public housing. But behind the polished language was a painful truth. There is no serious execution culture. Kenya's real problem is not a lack of money or talent. It is the absence of long-term vision and dominance of short-term gain. Leaders talk big, but systems don't move. They wait for outsiders to bring business rather than build an environment for it. The biggest indicator, electricity. Vietnam, 100 million people, over 70 gigawatts of power. Kenya, 50 million people, only 4 gigawatts of power. This is not a side issue. It is the foundation of economic development. No investor will build a factory where the lights flicker every day. Vietnam knew this. It built power generation before free trade shone. And now it's a global export hub. In Kenya, business energy supply is unstable, and yet the government built a fancy expressway from Nairobi to Mombasa without an export industry to export it. Meanwhile, millions live in slums and huts with no access to reliable utilities. It ends there. Now let's dive deeper into the analysis, and I have prepared 4 points in relation to what the business mogul observed while he was in Kenya. So my first point, non-execution. In his statement, he said clearly that the leadership of Kenya is too much on talks rather than execution. This is something that you and I have been observing. You know that our president, since he took power, he has been continuing to make promises each and every day. And this is something that many Kenyans have come out to blast him over. So even the outsiders can see that our president is someone who is not up to actions, rather someone who is too much on talks. This is something that cannot bring development or even investors into Kenya, because they are seen him as someone who is not serious about development. The second point is about lack of proper vision and planning. The investor is saying it categorically that it is not lack of money in Kenya, but the short-term dominance over the long-term one. Here in Kenya, our leaders are so focused about the long-term visions, and this is one of the reasons which, according to the investors, has been bringing Kenya down. The third one is about electrification. Here in Kenya, you know very well that most part of the rural areas are not electrified, and for investors to come into a country, there must be a stable supply of electricity or power. And this is one of the reasons why investors are not coming into Kenya, because there is not any investor who can come into a place where there is an unstable supply of energy. Fourth point, and the very last one, is about corruption and insecurity. In his statement, he has also talked about corruption and insecurity. Corruption is something that is like a dragon eating on the development and growth of Kenya. Kenya has been experiencing massive corruption from the top leadership, and this is one of the reasons why Kenya cannot be compared with other African countries like Nigeria and even South Africa. In South Africa, corruption is something that is very minimal, even in Nigeria too. And this is the reason why these two countries are leading in terms of development and even growth. So in my conclusion, the observations made by the investor should be a wake-up call to Kenya Kwanza government and the president. President William Ruto now should know that his talks are now too much. He should now jump right into actions and start doing something that Kenyans can appreciate, and also the outsiders can appreciate as well. So guys, let me end it there for now. But before I do so, I want to kindly request you that if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please kindly do it just now. Thanks for watching, and let's catch up soon in our next video.